All right, we've got emotional mastery in action. What it looks like in your home, what it looks like in your life, period. To start, number one, what emotional mastery really means beyond just controlling feelings. Emotional mastery is not rigidly controlling feelings, but experiencing them, expressing them, and transforming them in a safe and connected space. According to Dr. Susan David's research on emotional agility, this is a Harvard Medical School research, suppression leads to greater anxiety and physical health issues. We'll talk about this more and more as the video goes on, but suppressing your emotions is not a solution, never has been a solution, and never will be a solution. Reevaluation co-counseling emphasizes discharge, the intentional release of emotions through talking, crying, laughing, shaking, shivering, as a pathway to clarity and to take action rather than suppression. This approach honors emotions as information. This approach honors emotions as information that can guide us towards healing and a more authentic living. For example, my anxiety around creating this video is connected to messages I received about creativity. The creative ability that I had in each of those messages was questioned, and that information is then written on my mind, on my body, on my spirit, and it shows up again, and it shows up as an opportunity to let it go. The feeling is there, but at the time when I was attempting to let it go through crying, shaking, shivering, or just talking about it, I didn't have that opportunity. So now we have an opportunity with this information to give each other that pathway to healing, as well as give our children that pathway to healing. Number two, why mastery is about liberation rather than suppression. This is a global majority framework. For everyone, especially global majority communities, emotional mastery has to be understood as liberation. My apologies. Emotional mastery has to be understood as liberation from generational and systematic oppression, not as conformity to dominant cultural standards of calm and quiet, which is a lot of the rhetoric we see in the classroom as well as in the general society. If you're calm and you're quiet, that means you can be successful. That means you know what you're doing. You have control of yourself. But that's not always the case, right? Because sometimes we're calm and we're quiet, we're suppressing emotions, and then they come out sideways towards the people we love the most. So we know that that's not right. We know that there's something off with that framework. But instead, I give you this. I say that everyone, I want to say that this applies to everyone because European folks of European descent have dealt with generations of famine, disease, and owning class oppression that has created these patterns that we have seen shape the world. Dr. Joy DeGruy's work on post-traumatic slave syndrome and Dr. Resmaa Menakem's My Grandmother's Hands highlight that suppressing feelings to survive in oppressive systems has led to internalized trauma patterns. Dr. Joy DeGru's work on post-traumatic slave syndrome, or PTSS, details how enslaved Africans in America were forced to suppress natural emotional responses to survive. Those responses are that crying, are that shaking, are that shivering, are that shouting, are that yelling, all those things that are obscene, all those things that take you outside of what is the normal. Those are the things that were suppressed. Those otherwise to appear compliant and emotionally numb in order to avoid punishment. And how those survival strategies have been transmitted generationally is something that Joy DeGruy discusses in her work at length. In post-traumatic slave syndrome, DeGruy documents community-level patterns of internalized racism, anger, hypervigilance, and distrust as consequences of this historical trauma. Similarly, in Dr. Resmaa Menakem's My Grandmother's Hands, uses somatic psychology to illustrate that Black and Indigenous bodies in particular often hold what is called white body supremacy trauma or repeated messages of danger and dehumanization, resulting in deeply embedded survival responses such as freezing or disassociation from our bodies. And so again, my work that I do is built upon this research to get you back into your body, to get your children back into their bodies, or to get them comfortable with being in their bodies, so as they're facing the world, as you're facing these issues that come up, you know how to get through them, not just pile them on and get, honestly, not just pile them on and let them put, what is that called? Filters on your life and how you experience your life, but also how you express your life. A major study by the American Heart Association in 2021 found that perceived racism and racial discrimination are strongly associated with increased hypertension rates in Black Americans. This chronic stress from internalized trauma leads to persistently elevated cortisol levels, contributing directly to cardiovascular disease, kidney disease, and other chronic illnesses. RC theory holds that, and that's reevaluation co-counseling, theory holds that suppressed emotions, especially in communities forced to adapt for survival, manifest in both behavioral patterns such as self-silencing, hyper-independence, and in the body as tension, illness, inflammation. By intentionally discharging, letting go of these feelings in a safe collective space, we can reclaim emotional and physical well-being, breaking cycles of trauma that are, of course, inherited. And if we got it, we can also let it go. Please, please, please feel free to visit rc.com. I'll put the link below for a multitude of resources on how you can support yourself, how you can support your community. There's a lot of amazing thinking that has come out of this community, out of the RC community, that I strongly encourage you to read. There's so many free articles from so many different angles and ideas. You just research them, you search them in the search bar on the website, and it'll offer a lot to you. So just want to get that out there too. RC supports liberation by creating spaces. So again, we're creating these spaces for not just spontaneous, but also spontaneous, authentic expression, emotional discharge, to empower individuals to let go of the hard narratives and take agency and reclaim the narratives that they choose to reclaim over their lives. Number 3, micro examples: conflict at home, peer issues, school stress. In daily life, emotional mastery through RC principles can and should be applied to small everyday conflicts. If your child is shutting down after an argument with a parent, that is an amazing opportunity to set up that space. Have that container set up. Again, that I teach you how to set up that container, and go on the RC website, look it up. There's plenty of tools to figure it out, how to do it. If you want that support, cool, but those are the moments where you want to have something set up, some sort of, the way we have a cool down corner in the classroom, you can have a cool down corner in your home where you specifically go to that space to have your child discharge and let go of what's sort of coming up for them, or to reveal what is coming up for them. Peer exclusion leading to silent withdrawal. So that exclusion that we feel early, whether it be in school, whether it be at home with our family, that can lead to patterns and distresses that come up in a bigger way as we grow older into our adult years. Those are things and feelings and patterns that can be discharged and let go early so they don't come up later in life. And that young person can figure out with a new mind, with a fresh, clear mind, how to deal with those situations healthily. And then academic pressure causing physical tension. This is something that probably everyone has experienced in some way, shape, or form. That academic pressure causing that physical tension in your body, whether it be mentally with the headaches that may come, whether it be physically with pains in your chest, pains in your stomach. Those are all things by acknowledging them. This is very, very simple. This is a pro tip. Saying ow. We don't say ow. We don't say, and it comes up in different ways, and it lands on our bodies differently as men versus women, Black women versus white women, so on and so forth. But across the board, it's landed on us to not acknowledge the ways in which we are hurt, the ways in which we are harmed. And the best way to do that and acknowledge that in the moment is to say ow and express the hurt. And express the hurt with someone or amongst people that love and care about you and acknowledge you and are just going to look at you with kindness and love. And in fact, encourage you to express the pain and say ow and hold it, put your hand on wherever that hurt is and express how it feels. That helps the healing process more than you could ever think or maybe know, because it's so simple. But when we're not doing it, again, it kind of just gets stuck there. But when we are, again, expressing how we feel in that moment, it actually accelerates the healing from a physical hurt as well as a mental hurt. Harvard's Center on the Developing Child shows that children's stress response can become toxic without supportive relationships. That sounds very, very simple, but I am teaching and coaching you how to take your relationship that may be moderately supportive to pretty supportive and make sure that you know exactly what you're doing in a skillful way to create that supportive container so that your child has the best opportunity to become the best person they can be. That's what we're about at Rising Roots Emotional Mastery. That's what we're about, period, to give you these resources to make sure that you, your family, and your child are becoming the best iteration, best version of yourselves. The Harvard Center on the Developing Child defines toxic stress as prolonged activation of the stress response system in the absence of protective relationships. So you're having this stress response, which is going to happen no matter what. No matter what type of life you live, things are going to get tough. You're going to have some sort of situation that's tough. Having that stress response without adequate support with you to support you and get through that situation with you. So when we talk about RC and what RC looks like, what reevaluation co-counseling looks like, usually it's me, it's you sitting, and we take turns doing time. A full session, 45 minutes to an hour each way. So I spend 45 minutes looking at you with this type of face, joyful attention, encouraging you to express yourself, encouraging your feelings, reminding you how good you are, reminding you how smart you are, how special you are, reminding you that you have an enormous amount of access to all of the things that you want. That's what that other person is doing, while you're challenging yourself to take whatever hurt. Think of the last thing that really made you mad, frustrated you, whatever it is, pissed you off, boom, boom. For me, something small. Automatically, I think of something my partner did, but I've done a lot of counseling to get to the point where it kind of just slides off and rolls off. But I thought she offered to warm up my food, and I thought she was gonna put it in the bowl. She didn't put it in the bowl. So that kind of frustrated me a little bit. I'm like, she just chilling. I'm like, boom, boom, boom. But the earliest version of that hurt is my father or my mother, probably my father, saying they were gonna show up for me in some way and totally dropping the ball. And so, in this moment, I'm yawning right now. It's coming up, it's coming out, I'm thinking about it. My body's starting to get warmer, and I have this safe space to go ahead and go back and think about that. And it's your job as counselor, it's your job as coach. If I'm in this coaching relationship with you, I would be the coach. It's the coach's job to not judge, but to notice the good in that person no matter what they have to say. They might say some crazy stuff. You might have feelings, and that's very much the point. To say the crazy thing that's in your mind that you're judging yourself for, you think it's crazy, you feel like you can't say that. The goal is to say that thing, because the goal is to get it out. You cannot replace the thought without releasing the thought. You have to release it and let it go in order to replace it and let it flow. There has to be something done there to that thing that's already there in order to bring something more to your awareness. So yes, that was a bit of a tangent, but not really. This type of stress is different from positive stress, which, so we're taking toxic stress versus positive stress. Toxic stress disrupts the brain's architecture and other organ systems and increases the risk of long-term problems. So that toxic stress is the stress that occurs without the supportive containers, that stress that occurs to no end, that stress that is always on. Versus stress where it's like me making this video and I'm like, I feel a little anxious, you know, I'm like, maybe I'm procrastinating a little bit and I just gotta take the leap. Just gotta take the leap into it, and my partner is there to witness and hold space for me. Like, hey baby, you gotta go, because you know you wanna get there a little early and be able to set up, and she's encouraging me, she's opening the door. That's positive stress. Versus the toxic stress where it's to no end, I'm procrastinating, boom, 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 I'm in my head and I'm alone. That's one of the biggest differences here as well. Providing context for what a safe, skillful container looks like in community with someone else. So we're gonna keep that going, boom, boom, boom. Or maybe we should say this. Toxic stress disrupts the brain's architecture and other organ systems and increases the risk of long-term problems. For example, ongoing yelling, physical aggression, witnessing intimate partner violence. These are all different things that I went through as a young person, and I literally still have the pain in my chest. I still have the pains or the tightness in my legs. I still have that. And that's something that I work literally every day through stretching, through counseling, through coaching to let go. Here's the data. Children exposed to chronic conflict at home show altered amygdala activity and reduced prefrontal cortex development, impairing self-regulation and decision-making. For example, this is food insecurity, this is housing instability, or parents working multiple jobs without time for connection. Unfortunately, these are just some of the ways that we have to live sometimes with situations or circumstances that our life has created for us, or the situations and circumstances that the systems that we grow up in create for us. The ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences, studies found that economic instability without support is linked to higher risk of mental health disorders, substance abuse, and lower educational achievement. Let me get really specific here. Instability without support. Instability without support. The key here is support, support, support. Support, support, support. We can get through anything with support, with community. The goal is to engage with each other no matter what. That is what shapes the reality that produces wealth mentally, physically, and spiritually when we are working together. So I will continue to offer you these different resources, continue to offer you to call in, look at our newsletter, join this community where we're sharing these resources, where we're pulling people in, where we're offering these things for people to have an experience of community, where we're sharing healing resources. And we're sharing these particular tools that I'm using, but you're also together, and we're together figuring it out together. Another example is ongoing microaggressions at school, racial bullying, or internalized stereotypes. Here's the data. Chronic exposure to racial discrimination has been shown to elevate allostatic load, which is wear and tear on the body, contributing to higher rates of anxiety, depression, and hypertension in Black and brown children. This is the American Academy of Pediatrics, 2019. I feel like I'm talking about myself. That's me discharging. Feel like I'm talking about myself. I got a hold of this work before it was too late. I really, really did. And your family can before the disconnection, before the bonds break, before the no contact. Your family can as well. Before the shutdowns, please feel free to book your free consultation to learn more. Sign up for the newsletter. Just get tapped into the Rising Roots Emotional Mastery community to see what we can offer you in support of overall collective healing. Before it gets there, before it gets too late. We want to turn the breakdowns into breakthroughs. We want to turn the hurt into healing. We want to leave you with something once you come into this community and you kind of click through, see a couple things. We want to leave you with something that nurtures you for the moment, brings you some momentum, and for the rest of your lifetime. Okay. In Rising Roots, as well as reevaluation co-counseling, we use reevaluation co-counseling in Rising Roots Emotional Mastery. We do that and we build safe, consistent, emotionally present relationships with children that interrupt toxic stress cycles. We've already went through all of the data on what the cycles do, what they are. This is the work that interrupts them. By offering co-regulation, active listening, somatic practices, songwriting to express, capoeira and gola to get into your body, RC coaching to let it go, let it out, I help transform what could be toxic stress into manageable, growth-promoted experiences. RC encourages using RC encourages using immediate attention, warmth, and non-judgmental listening to help release the emotional charge, restoring a sense of connection and problem-solving capacity. That's another huge thing. Once all this is let go and all of this is let out, it's like you have a new, fresh outlook on whatever you're going through with your life. It's like coming up for air. It's like the distress, the hurts, whatever's up for you has you in the water, and through the discharge process, through letting it go, through letting it out, you're swimming, and by the end of the session, you feel like you just hit air, and you're able to take that fresh breath of air. Let's keep it going, talking about what emotional mastery is, what it looks like in the house, in the community, in the classroom. Let's go. How it supports academic and life success. We're using Harvard SEL studies here. Social emotional learning, SEL, research from Harvard and Castle demonstrates that students with strong emotional skills perform stronger academically while building stronger lifelong relationships. This is not just me talking, this is research backing it. When you have that mental fortitude that can be generated through these practices, you are stronger academically, you're stronger in your community, you're stronger in your relationships, you're stronger in your life, you're stronger in your career, you're stronger in your passions, you're stronger in your lived experiences. Period. RC allows us to process feelings rather than avoid them, increasing focus and relational trust. Please, again, I'm saying it again, visit rc.com for a multitude of resources on how the tool and community has worked to support people and communities for the past 70 plus years. That organization is a nonprofit and has some amazing thinking that has come out of it. Let's keep it going. Emotional discharge clears mental static, those places where we may freeze or have the same response to a similar situation. Discharge improves cognitive function as well as motivation. So, you've seen it and you've done it because I know you and I love you and I see you. People who are doing the same thing over and over and over again. It may be a relationship, it may be a job, it's literally a pattern. It can be a pattern you see in these different situations or these different spaces, but it's literally a pattern that you are doing yourself. It can even be an addiction, or it's a pattern that you're seeing other people do themselves. The discharge process interrupts the pattern. I have patterns around, procrastination. My partner is interrupting that pattern. She's encouraging me, she's loving on me, she's letting me know, she's supporting me to get through it, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. She's interrupting that pattern. That's what the RC process does. According to meta-analysis by Durlac et al. 2011, SEL programs improve academic performance by 11 percentile points on average, showing that when emotional mastery is integrated, students thrive both in and beyond school settings. I have personal data, 10 to 20% increases in ELA scores over the course of 1 month coaching 4th grade scholars. It works. This is something that I've seen reshape my life, my relationships, my relationship to money, my relationship to myself, my relationship to my mental health, my relationship to my body, my relationship to the things that I love. This is the work. Number 5, I think there are 6 of them, I'm not sure. Number 5, movement and somatics as keys to emotional release. We're tying in Dr. Bessel van der Kolk here. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk's work shows that trauma and emotional stress are stored in the body and cannot be resolved through talk alone. While the talking is a great starting place, which is where we always like to start, to witness, acknowledge your trauma, movement, breathwork, and somatic practices, all core to RC, Rising Roots Emotional Mastery, Roots of Resilience, allow deep emotional patterns to release physically and musically. Shaking, yawning, shouting, crying, sweating, tantruming are all part of the natural discharge process. And we see children do this without prompting. They're doing it already. They're shouting, and we're stopping them from shouting. We're stopping them from tantruming. We're stopping them from shaking. We are literally stopping the process that cultivates intelligence in human beings, period. We're stopping that process. That is the problem. So, in Rising Roots Emotional Mastery, children and families have the opportunity to be coached through remembering this process and releasing the hurts. In our Roots of Resilience membership, we add capoeira in person and couple this with doc songwriting, where we take a memory, good or bad, and we turn it into a song that captures your young one's life in this moment. This process of releasing, moving, and creating is especially crucial for folks whose bodies have been historically and collectively harmed, and that is through the generational trauma. And again, I named before that folks of European descent have that harm and have that trauma in famine, have that trauma in class discrimination. It's there, and it's created a lot of patterns and established a lot of patterns that we see worldwide. So this is work that helps you no matter who you are, no matter where you're coming from. This is something that can support you. Finally, number 6, daily tools you can use to start practicing right now. A powerful daily tool rooted in RC and supported by neuroscience is attention out listening. This is what we talked about when we said giving time back and forth. Setting a timer, 5 minutes, where the child or parent shares. Do not have your child give you attention. I just want to be clear. When I say child or parent shares, I mean parent to parent sharing back and forth, or the child sharing to the parent. Just want to make that clear. Child or parent shares freely while the other listens without advice, without connection, with correction. Without advice, let that person share without advice, without correction, without judgment. Your only job is to listen. That is the work. That is the thing. That is the hard thing. That is the thing that is going to help shape them. That is the thing. Research from the Gottman Institute and RC shows that this builds trust, strengthens neurological pathways for self-regulation, and reduces emotional reactivity over time. My partner saw this with a young one. She was babysitting a while back, where the child would kick and scream and throw tantrums very, very randomly. And over the course of time of her giving this child attention, child suddenly stopped. And it happens that way because it's like, imagine digging for gold, you're digging, and you're putting in, and your muscles are really, really sore. So you don't know that you're getting close. But once you hit it, it's like all that dirt, all that discharging you did, you forget about it. It doesn't even matter. What matters is that new brain, that new fresh perspective that you have. That's similar to what happens with the discharge process as well. It can be slow, you start seeing slow changes, and then you kind of hit it. And once you hit it, it's like you've come up for a breath of fresh air, and all of a sudden your behaviors are a lot different. Over time it was little by little, but your behaviors are a lot different. Your child's behaviors are a lot different. You're starting to, you see that and you witness it within yourself, and you may witness it in your child as well. Have the privilege of witnessing it in your child as well. Okay. Combined with gentle movement afterwards. So it's the talking that's important as well as the movement. Again, Dr. Kolk shows that in his work. This practice models emotional safety and resilience daily, turning everyday moments into micro healing opportunities. So setting that timer for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is something you can do daily, something that you can do weekly. I recommend doing it daily. It could be an AM process right when they wake up, and or a PM process right when they wake up. You can do this with you and your wife, your husband, boom, 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 partner, whatever it is, right when y'all wake up. And just take that time to talk about, oh, this is how I'm feeling right now. This is what I'm worried about right now. This is what I don't want to deal with right now. This is what's going on with me right now. And then, it's because it's that other person's job to just listen to you. Then you flip the script and you get to talk. You get to express yourself. That's a lot of the work that's the base of the work that we do in Rising Roots Emotional Mastery. And we elevate that in Rising Roots of Resilience with the songwriting, with the Capoeira Angola, getting you into your body with your children, with your family, to express, create, and enjoy. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Join our newsletter. Tap in, click the link in the bio, get these resources, get this love, and join our community. We going places, and they're healing places.